Washington has no plan for our $39 trillion in debt and no long-term solution for however many entered illegally or overstayed their visas. Heat records are being shattered around the globe, yet climate change sits on the back burner, pun intended. Nobody seems concerned about the possibility of civil disorder born of societal disconnect and wealth disparity. But hey, at least the Senate found time on Wednesday to unanimously pass a resolution at the behest of Senators Ruben Gallego and Cynthia Lummis opposing any pardon for Sam Bankman-Fried, currently serving 25 years for the fraud that felled his crypto exchange, FTX. Gallego said that it should not be considered controversial that a convicted fraudster should not be allowed to walk away scot-free. Perhaps that was his last legislative achievement, because a day later came the New York Post report of Gallego's past sexual relationships with two House staffers and his very flirtatious nature after a couple of drinks. I doubt that any senator who signed off on the resolution has read in on the file. I have. In February, CNN asked me to interview SBF's parents, hours spent in their living room. My first brush with the case was Michael Lewis's 2023 book, Going Infinite, which raised doubts about the case against Bankman-Fried. You know Lewis. He wrote Liar's Poker and Moneyball, among others. He's no intellectual slouch. In his paperback, he added an afterword, just so that he could amplify his view of SBF. As he put it, the truth is closer to, quote, young person with an intellectually defensible but socially unacceptable moral code makes a huge mistake in trying to live by it, rather than criminal on the loose in the financial system. I myself question whether SBF has the requisite mens rea. And I wonder how many senators know that FTX customers have been paid back in full with interest. Yet the Senate celebrates Judge Lewis Kaplan's 25 years for a 32-year-old with no criminal history. And meanwhile, just this month, 9 years concurrent for an Indiana man's rape, child molesting, and sexual battery of two young girls, 12 to 15 and a half years for a North Carolina woman who shot her boyfriend in the back, 21 years parole possible in 2031 for a fatal West Virginia gas station shooting. Unanimity, it turns out, is easy when the target is already in prison. Social media reaction to today's program so far. What do we have from the world of Facebook? WTF is wrong with you, Michael? You have this vendetta against Democrats while this corrupt administration runs roughshod over our democracy. No, Chris, I'm wondering what comes next and how this crossroads within the Democratic Party is going to get resolved. The enthusiasm shown for Democratic socialists, and yet the judgment, the battlefield judgment of the likes of Bill Daley, who was here this week, who say, hey, we don't think we can sell this nationally. And I keep wondering when, among the emerging field of 2028 likely candidates, somebody is going to draw a line in the sand, that it hasn't happened yet the way that Bill Clinton ultimately did in '92. More social media reaction from today's program. What do we have? The only way to truly avoid a quagmire stemming from underestimated foe in a modern asymmetrical conflict is to just say, we're going to stay the F out of this place. I get it. Little too late for that. Look, you know my view. I never bought the predicate for bombing Iran on February 28 with Israel. But once we're there, I want to see this mission concluded, defined as take control of that enriched uranium, because that's the one constant of this whole dynamic. One more social media reaction. What do we have? You can follow me on X. You can find me on Facebook, all the usual places. Iran leadership seems content to go down in flames, but not before inflicting as much political damage to Trump as they can, says Brian Driscoll. Brian, I think that what they most have in their arsenal is patience. Like, we have the hardened battlefield weaponry. They clearly are mindful of our, ticking clock toward the midterm elections. And if they can just wait us out, they don't need to win. They win by not losing, if that makes any sense. Make sure you're voting on today's poll question at Smerconish.com. I'll be curious to see how this turns out. Do Democrats need a sister soldier break with Democratic socialists? Still to come, my take on President Trump's primetime address and how I would have handled it, and 7 World Cup goals and a personality that took over the internet, the giant Norwegian who became this World Cup unofficial star, how Erling Haaland and his teammates trained as kids. That played a pivotal role in their success, and it's something that may sound counterintuitive in American youth sports.